Today we'll take you through the process of appliance testing of Class 2 equipment using the Fluke 6500 Mark II. Class 2 equipment do not require an earth connection and could be fully insulated. Here we will be testing a jigsaw. The easiest and most effective way to do an appliance test is to use the auto test function. You will see what the predefined auto test sequence includes and what you must perform during the equipment's appliance test. For Class 2 appliances, we recommend using the predefined auto test functions with the number 231 auto test. If you press the information key, you will see that the auto test sequence includes the following test steps: visual test, insulation resistance test, load leakage test, and the touch leakage test. All these test steps are performed according to the code of practice. Now we will start the auto test sequence for a Class 2 equipment. The 6502 comes with help screens that support you during the test and shows you how to connect the unit under test. It also provides additional hints for each test step. The first thing you need to perform is a visual test. Besides the electrical test, the visual test is the most important test. You must check the housing, cable, plug, strain relief for any damage or defects. Also soiling or corrosion, anything which could affect the safety of the equipment. Especially on a Class 2 piece of equipment, the installation of the housing is very important. For details about this test, the help function can also be used. Confirm the positive test outcome by pressing the yes key. Now the 6500 Mark II goes on to the next test, the insulation resistant test. So the appliance test continues with the insulation resistance test. Here you can see how the unit under test should be connected. The appliance must now be connected via the mains plug to the socket of the Fluke 6500 Mark II. First you connect the test probe to the tester. For the insulation test on a Class 2 equipment, it is important to connect the metal parts of the unit under test. We also need to switch on the appliance to reach all internal circuits during the test before we continue. We start the insulation test while the appliance is switched on and see that the test has passed. Now the Fluke 6500 Mark II goes on to the next step, the load test. We will carry on with the load test. Leave the appliance connected as shown in the picture and remove the probe. Ensure the appliance power switch is on. After starting the test, we get a warning that the appliance will be powered. For safety reasons, this must be confirmed before we continue. The load test is now performed, so the appliance will be powered with mains voltage. Now the Fluke 6500 Mark II goes on to the next step, touch leakage. We will finish with the touch leakage measurement. The 6500 Mark II shows you immediately how the unit under test must be connected. The appliance is connected via the mains plug to the socket of the Fluke 6500 Mark II. We need to use the test probe. For the touch leakage test on Class 2 equipment, it is mandatory to connect to metal parts of the unit under test. In this case, the metal parts on the front, ensuring the appliance is switched on. We start the test and get a warning that the appliance will be powered. For safety reasons, this must be confirmed before we continue. The touch leakage test is now performed, so the appliance will be powered with mains voltage. At the end of the test, the overall test result is displayed in this case, a pass. The preset pass-fail levels will give you a clear display for pass and fail and ensure that the appliance test is positive and all test results are inside the limits according to the code of practice. Ensure the appliance conforms to local regulations. Now we can save the test results to the memory for further documentation. You can enter data by using the internal keyboard. The reference number of each test is the appliance number identification number, which we enter first. Also, we enter additional data as department, equipment description, and a remark. With one key press, the data is saved into the internal memory. To mark the tested appliance, we stick the test label on the equipment. We have already marked the label with the date of the test. The Fluke 6500 Mark II leads you through the test procedure, supports you on every test step, and gives you clear and pass-fail statements.